how is your view on love informed by?
Yeah, starting off with me, my friend. You always
Yeah,
do this to me. I don't know why. Okay, how I perceive love in the sense of uh it being in a relationship or being loving someone that you're not in a relationship yet with.
either or.
Either or.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we all know that there's stages of being in a relationship, and it all starts with attraction. So I think that's where love starts off as well. I mean, you need to be attracted to somebody that you're going to be loving. I mean, it's very, I think it's very rare or non-existent for a person to fall in love they're not attracted to or with. So I think the first base is to be attracted to that person, and after that, it's all about the personalities. Do you guys gel well? And once everything is literally linking and orientated in a sense where you guys understand each other and you guys know that this is the type of person that I wanna be with, I think that's where like love sort of comes together. Because they say love is a feeling; it's actually not an act. I totally feel like love is everything. That's part of a relationship. You could be doing something that's showing love, or you can be feeling something that's also showing love. So I think that's my perspective of love in a sense of being with someone. You need to be attracted to them, and you need to feel like you guys are gelling together.
Okay, but in terms of that, where do you think that, what informs that from you? Is it something you're raised to do? Like, let's say the way you approach relationships. Is that something your parents taught you, or is that something you just realized through media, or how is it informed? Is my question.
Oh, okay. So because of the fact, if you think about it, I was actually talking about this with some a colleague of mine with regards to how kids learn. I mean, we grew up in an era where we actually learn things from school. I mean, most of the time you spend your time in school. I mean, from preschool right up until varsity. So I think yes, obviously your parents will instill morals, and but you learn most of the things through your associates, people from school, from TV. You see what you watch rom-coms. You find other people watching Days of Our Lives or The Bold and Beautiful. So that sort of like influences you in a sense of understanding what love looks like. So you have a sort of like an idea of what to look for or how to perceive certain actions that are done by someone, and to say, this is actually love. So I think for me, it's a sense of influenced by firstly your parents, because that's where you start off, but it's also influenced by your associates, people that you associate yourself with, in a sense of friends from school, cousins, locals in the area. You find you go to a restaurant and you find people having a bit of PDA in the restaurants. So I think it's a whole lot of things that actually influence a person to feel love. So it's not just a specific thing. So, but for me on my side, I feel like love is something that I saw on TV, or my parents were not very uh, lovey-dovey in front of me. So I think TV is the one thing that taught me how to perceive love and how to show love to my partner.
Okay. And then Q, I see you raised your hand. I don't know if you want to chip in on the same question. I don't want to, pander on as I get to other topics as well. Q,
Okay, no,
what is your view?
I was actually gonna say what Daniel said in the second half, that the main point is that, or rather ethically, we are supposed to learn how to love, or what we're supposed to know what love is, through what our parents teach us, through family. But unfortunately, I personally feel, especially in just like Black society, we are not really kind of exposed to exposed to seeing what love is actually supposed to look like. So I agree with Daniel. We get to then learn the idea of love, or the views of it through TV and conversations that we have in school. So that's what I actually wanted to say, but I'm glad he brought it up. So yeah, basically.
Okay, great. Maybe let me also get Kay Kambule. what is your take on the topic before I move to the other aspects of the question? Okay.
Just put on. Hello?
Yeah, we
Can you?
Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, my view on that is different, and I appreciate that from people. For me, I had an idea of love, and the reason why I say an idea of love is because it was the way I was raised, especially being from a different culture, and being from a family where, look, you need to get married, you need to have one woman, etc. So once that idea gets built, you carry it through your life, through varsity and your life, and even how you date people in the future because of the idea that you have. And for me, it is something that my parents didn't speak to me about, because I don't know if all Black people go through the same thing, but my parents don't speak about dating, even sex. I've never had sex talk with my dad. He just told me, just don't come back with AIDS. That's all he told me. And I feel learning is you just learn by yourself. You learn from your friends. And when I say learn from your friends, I'm a guy who has had female friends and guy friends. And when I hear them complaining, I'm like, oh, Philip, you're complaining about a guy who does that. Then I'll tell myself, don't do that. You know, and if I don't do what people are complaining about, chances are I'm gonna have a successful or a better relationship. So for me, it's really about what you observe and what you get out from the world. Because I mean, guys, TV is just a lie. It's always the fact that it's a good-looking guy and a good-looking girl and everything falls into place. But it's not always like that. You don't always fall into place with certain things. So personally for me, I feel it's something I've learned through actually observing and learning. So yeah, that's my view.
Okay, so I think we can at least push the conversation a bit further, because I wanted to start the conversation from the root aspect of it, from where we started off with, as we navigate the conversation. But obviously, that's something obviously I think we can talk about in more detail as we progress the conversation about dating. But maybe my next question is, now that we out of the aspect of where it starts off from, you know, as we enter this modern society, you know, dating and, you know, we speak about previous generations, our parents used to get married, you know, everyone was married, you know, everyone was dating and so forth. And my question then is our generation view on dating different? Is it discouraged? Is it something that we still want to do? Or is it just, you know, it's an expensive thing, it's a costly emotional thing? And then as I can progress the conversation into other aspects of that. So maybe let me start with the last person to join. Tembi, I don't know if you can hear us. Just switch on your mic and then introduce yourself, and then we can progress from there. Tembi? Okay, I think she has audio issues. Okay, well then I think maybe we're gonna ask someone else then. Then maybe let me ask Tato. What is your take on the question of, do you think our generation has any issues with regards to relationships? Your microphone is off.
I forgot about that. Hi, everybody. Well, can I please get your question again? I just lost my train of thought there.
So you see, the question is basically, previous generations have been known to, you know, been very active in terms of relationships, dating, getting married. Mm-hmm. Has our generation changed in terms of our view on that? Is marriage, dating something we're less interested in, or is it something that we just still figuring out?
Well, personally, for me, I'm from personal experience. This is something that we are still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. And, you know, I'm one person, I go into relationships as I learn, like I go as I learn in relationships. Yes, it is influenced by the media. Yes, it is influenced by family and movies and all of that. But then I try to create my own idea of what love means to me. And right now, in this generation that we live in, I don't think that love should be the only thing that we need to focus on. There are a lot of things that we need to focus on, because love is a feeling. Yes, it is a feeling, but then let's put in logic and practicality. I mean, it's not always going to be rosy. It's not always going to be a fairy tale. But what I've learned about this generation that we live in is that we are so afraid to open ourselves fully when coming to relationships, especially coming to vulnerability with your partner. We are scared to talk about questions that would make the other person to be uncomfortable. And with that said, we get people that present themselves not fully, you know. So how I go in relationships, I go as I learn, and
yeah, we can hear you, Tato. Tato? Okay. I'm assuming you probably have audio issues. Mbali, I see you raised your hand. Obviously want to get to some of the other questions, but let's also get others to participate. I see some people are still joining as well. Mbali, the floor is yours.
Okay, I heard what you asked, right? And you said something along the lines of our parents and how they conducted their love stories versus how we conduct our love stories. And in the case of how we have expanded in terms of like thought process and in terms of like freedom as well. I mean, like when it comes to love, I feel like it's a never-ending experience. So obviously, like when it comes to us, we will never conduct our love the same way as our parents used to be, because we are exposed to so much more than what our parents were used to. Like what Tato said, he said that love cannot be just a mere feeling, but we have to take into consideration practicality, whereas love has always been a case of practicality. It's just that maybe our, I don't know, maybe when it comes to things like what do you call these things, movies, you know, they make it seem like it's just like an act of you know, like, oh, affection and just physical attraction. And love does not just equate to physical attraction. Attraction does not just equate to physical, you know, the physical stance. I can be attracted to you and manifest it in such a way that comes through to you in the best way possible. Hence we have things like love languages, you know, just to get like a great understanding of how people operate and how they want their love to operate. And I think like with our parents, they didn't do a bad job, you know, but I think that with all of us, we have just like when it comes to our parents, there are aspects of them that kind of do lack with the kind of love that we hope to see in ourselves. And that is the kind of love that we exude to other people. We look at our parents and then it's like, okay, fine. As much as I've loved certain things about you, I felt like you have lacked the certain aspect about you. And then that is how we come through to people like that. But at the same time, I just feel like it's good. It's good. I think we're on the right track though. I really do think we're on the right track. But like also I think Daniel did say when it comes to like surroundings as well, those surroundings are what determines how we're gonna manifest the kind of love that we want for ourselves. Because I mean, like if I come from a home where I don't know how to explain it, but if I come from a home that, guys, you need to help me. If I come from a home that did not execute my love language, that will forever be something that I yearn for. Hence, when I go into society, I'm going to be on a hunt for that, you know. But at this, I don't think our parents did a wrong thing. I don't think we're also doing a wrong thing. I just think we're coming from different perspectives, you know, and we're growing in different times. So of course our parents are not going to love the same way. I mean, like we're growing to be more touchy, I guess. Completely different from our parents, and they did not grow up in that era because they were too focused on other things. We have what they were focused on, hence we are looking for something else. And love is an ever-growing perspective. So we can never say that they did wrong or we doing wrong, because love is endless, and that's the beauty of it. We can never say they did wrong. We can never say we are doing wrong. I think the next generation will think we're doing wrong, but I don't think anyone is doing wrong. because love is, as long as it's coming from the point of the heart, then it is okay. Then it is okay. I hope I'm making sense.
Now you are. I see Kay, you raised your hand, but obviously I want to get other people to also join in on the question. So obviously we've had about 4 people join in as well. So maybe let me start with before I let you guys answer on the question at hand, let me also get Zizipo to also participate at this point. So you've heard the question already. So maybe let me add another dynamic to that. Do you think men and women love differently then? Don't forget to switch on your mic.
Oh, Mandla, Mara. Okay, sorry. Okay, first, just to add on what Umbali said about, I agree with her, Wuti. It's different. Love, like the love game is just, I feel like it's very like different from our parents and our grandparents. Like we have a whole lot of things like woody hookup culture, friends with benefits, and then we have things like social media, Tinder, all of that, and Ben 10s, everything, and that they didn't have. And also with us, I feel like we're quick to walk away. Our parents, like they stayed through the roughest patches. I know for a fact, my mom always says, when to just friendships and stuff. But when I think of love, men and women, do they love differently? I think so, but I don't know how. But I know that they love differently, for sure. For sure.
Okay, cool. Kay, I know you raised your hand, so I guess you can also answer the second question, but also chip in on what you wanted to say.
Cool. Thank you, Peter. Thanks, man. So, thanks for allowing us to speak on our personal views. So I'm going to speak on my personal view. Please do not take any offense, anyone who may take offense to this. So for me, love is love. Love is just love. Like, I mean, you cannot say big love or small love. Love is just love. It's an action. It ends there. Because, you know, when you go to a country where they greet in a certain way, like China, they bow. If someone bows to me and greets me, I'm gonna how? I fist pump, whatever. That's the way they chose to communicate. So I really think love is a personal journey where you must accept what you like. If you want to be in a relationship with a guy who can love me by taking care of me, rubbing my feet, that's your love language that you want. For someone else, it's different. I want to go can give him a massage. So men and women do love differently, especially from the sense that we're different genders and how we view things. That is why I feel I would allow my child to be raised with a woman because she's loving and tendering, in the sense that my child will get that, as opposed to a man who is seen as straightforward, whatever the case may be. So people do love differently, guys and girls. And also in love, I really do believe love is really a personal journey. It's something that a person will choose to accept, you know, and how they view it and what they want from it is their own decision, because I can't expect to be loved in a certain way and not communicate that. So yeah, that's my view.
Okay, cool. I know, Tato, you raised your hand, but let me also have some of the other people, because I see there are many other people who have not spoken so far. I think I've exhausted the topic of love in its initial stage of, but let's go more deeper into the aspect, especially the aspect of dating. And one of the questions, I was having this conversation earlier this week, because this topic was pushed by one of my friends. So I think we can talk about this aspect. And that's the double standards that appear between either men and women in terms of how we go about dating, if that makes sense, or, you know, shooting your shot as one of them, rejection as one of them. And the many other double standards and ways in which both men and women, and also other aspects of it, and how we approach dating on job. So maybe let me start with the aspect of shooting your shot. And one of the questions I got, and maybe let me start with, let me see who I can pick. I'm not sure if I can pronounce it right, but I know you corrected me. Oloza, is that correct? Yeah. So maybe the question is then, in terms of there's a double standard that appears in society in terms of men and women, where men are known to be shooting their shot. And there's a question about women and shooting the shot. And what is your take in terms of being women and making the first initial approach? What is your take on that?
Okay, I feel like we're living in a different era right now. Back then, we used to think that men should do everything. They should be the one approaching us. They should be the one shooting the shots, that they want to be in relationship with us. But now this era where men are like, they're exposing what they prefer from women, us as women to literally out there and shooting our shot. But one thing about us women is that we fear rejection. We literally fear rejection. So that is why you'd never see us shooting our shots or that type of thing. That's just the rejection. It's just the words nightmare. So yeah, I think that's my intake on that.
Okay, I think that's where I can start the conversation. I know, Tatu, you raised your hand, so I think you can chip in now, but I also want to ask the question about rejection and being your own self, and what is your view on the aspect of, is a rejection an issue when it comes to dating for you? Because I know you didn't finish your last point. So Tatu, I don't know if your mic is working. Just switch on your mic and then you can continue.
Yeah, your rejection, that's huge. That's why most people are actually single, because they are afraid of that and they don't know how to handle that. But you know what? As a gay man living in South Africa, my dynamics when it comes to relationships, they're quite different. In this sense, yeah, gore, shooting your shot, and you need to think about a whole lot of things, and it's perception. It's okay. I remember now recently, actually, I'm vibing with someone, and how this happened. It happened in the most beautiful way. You know, a friend of mine was like, you know what, Tato, there's this guy that I would like to introduce you to. Man, you guys are like interest-wise and everything. How about you guys just share your numbers and then have a chat and see where this goes? So what this guy did, he liked one of my pictures on Instagram. And then I saw that, and then he kept quiet for like an hour. And I understand that on WhatsApp, I'm busy talking to my friend about this guy. So I'm like, oh, okay. He went through my Instagram, you know, he did some digging, or I don't know, whatever it was. He was trying to look at me and everything. So I was like, okay, Tato, so I have to shoot my shot here. Is this what he's saying to me by liking one of my pictures? Should I do it or should I not? So I took time. I took time thinking, oh, Guti, what is it that I'm going to do now? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to DM this guy and we'll see how it goes. And I'm telling you, I'm 2 months into it just because of shooting my shot. I'm one person who can get, yes, queens. So when it comes to rejection, I realize that, you know what, I need to be fearless when getting into any kind of relationship. I just need to be fearless and just go with it, man. Listen to what my intuition says and just follow it. I'm one person who's very big with intuition. I hear those whispers. You know what, Tato? Go for it, man. You've got nothing to lose here. Don't overthink it, because I was waiting for perfect conditions to actually be in a relationship, and they don't exist. Perfect conditions don't exist. I looked at this guy's profile. I looked at my profile, and I'm like, yo, it seems like he's way more secured and well off than I am. But then I had to remind myself that, hey, it seems like he has all of this, but we are still the same. He's single. I'm single. We are both commoners. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get more people on the aspect of rejection, because I have a lot of questions and I'm hoping at least everyone can participate. Bethel, I know you just joined us now. I just want to make sure everyone at least can able to speak. Bethel, what is your take on the aspect of rejection? I mean, you're a guy, you're obviously an adult now, so is rejection a problem for an adult man for you, or is that something that's not an issue? And do you think as men, that should be something that should be overcome, or what's your take?
Thank you very much, Peter. Hi, guys. My take on rejection, I don't have any problem about rejection. And I've listened, I'm sorry, I just joined you very late, but I've just listened to some few speakers. And I think the challenge also of dealing with rejection and relationships in general is that we are not thinking outside the box. And you touched on the important subject that I overemphasized in the previous sessions about love. You understand? And when we speak about love, as I always say, we must think outside the box. You understand? Love is more than just some emotional feeling. It's not about sex, it's not about kissing. I can love you as my brother. You understand? The difference can be how do you express it? And coming to the rejection, in the same breath of thinking outside the box. If you see an advertisement, for an example, a job advertisement, and you have qualification, you have experience about this job, you understand, you'll take your chance and apply. But at the back of your mind, you must not be carried away by, be certain that this is your post. At the back of your mind, you have to have a benefit of a doubt that I might be invited for the interview. This might be my job. This might not be my job. I think if you can take even relationship in that context, as young people, you understand, there's nothing difficult about rejection. It must be there at the back of your mind. For me personally, it is not a problem. I think we must take it in that context of applying for a job. There are many people, you know, you see a beautiful lady like these ones on your August panel. When many guys look at you, my sisters, they may be attracted to you. Not only one guy, many guys, when you walk in the mall and whatsoever, it means competition is very tight. And these people, they can be attracted to you for many reasons, your personality or the shape of your body or the way you talk, you understand. There might be a tight competition for us guys, you understand. And when we attempt to be in a relationship with these ladies, you might be rejected, or you may be ungapopa, yabona, Peter. It will depend. And dealing with the issue of rejection is still a problem because other guys is not, I don't think it's my sister says girls, they fear to be rejected. I think it's still a problem in our society, and it leads to many social dilemmas, whereby if a guy, you are rejected, then you start to swear to this lady, you are taking your chances. Now you speak bad about her. Oh, you have big, what, you have big nose, big head, you have ugly shape, because you are rejected. Others go to the extent of raping them to prove a certain point that I will get you. So a rejection is a very bigger subject than what we are talking about here. And as people, be men or women, we need to deal with rejection in a very civilized way. It's part of life, Peter. Thanks.
Thanks, Bethel. I think that's a really concerning aspect of people and how to deal with rejection, yet alone being the one who initiates and obviously being declined of your approach. But I think that's something that we all have to deal with as a society, and not just as individuals. But I think maybe we can also just add more aspects of the topic. So we've spoken about rejection, dating, and what is our view on it. And then the question now becomes, I'm going to go through every stage in which we speak about relationships. And there's this common term that's used today, which is called the talking phase, or, when you're starting to date, which is a very cringeworthy word for me, but anyway. So the question then becomes, when someone is yet to be married or committed, is there an issue where, because this is one of the questions I got, an issue whereby people are dating or are talking with different people in that stage? Because there's a dilemma of misunderstanding that seems to be a concern there. Tembi, I don't know if you can start off with this and maybe you can answer. I know last time you were not able to speak due to technical issues. Tembi?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So to answer your question, I think when you're now at the marriage stage, you can't really be talking to other people because you've committed yourself at like the highest level. But when we're still dating, I have zero obligation to not talk to other people because you haven't put a ring on it. You haven't proved that you are fully committing. We're still seeing how things are going. So in as much as feelings might come to play, we both don't know if it's going to work out at the end of the day. So there's nothing wrong with you talking to other girls or me talking to other guys. As long as we've talked, it's okay. Unless we've both discussed and we said, okay, this is going to the marriage direction and I'm going to be exclusive with you and you're going to be exclusive with me. If that's the case, then that's fine. If we haven't talked along those lines, I'm sorry, I have zero obligation to not talk to other people. That's my 2 cents.
Sure. Okay. I like how we started the conversation. I see there's someone called Zoran. I'm not sure because I don't recall inviting someone called Zoran. But what's your take on the aspect of talking to multiple people? Zoran? Okay, I'll speak to them on the chat and see what's going on. Lungster, the floor is yours. What is your take on the talking stage and multiple people?
Morning. Hey, Peter, you're asking difficult things now. Look, maybe let me start with the issue of fear. Fear is something that we all fear. There's no gender that fears it the most. It's a human issue because the challenge with fear, it makes you feel inadequate because it's the same as applying for a position, hoping that you qualify for, and then they don't take you. You feel that as if something is lacking from your side. So the issue of rejection, it raises that thing, yes, self-esteem to a certain extent, where you feel that you are less of. Therefore, that's why some people will even resort to rape someone to make them feel that they are actually adequate. So the issue of the rejection, it's not a women thing, it's everyone's thing. Everyone fears to be rejected. Whether you're a man, you're a gay man, you're a gay woman, a lesbian, whatever the case may be, if you're a human being, you don't want to feel inadequate. And that's the issue of rejection, and that's my take on that one. On the issue of dating or rather on the talking stage, I always say it starts with the intention. Why do we do what we do? And if we do not address the issue of what are we doing now? If we are saying, look, we are talking because of now we want to get things straight and serious, of course, there's no need for you to have multiple partners. But also, even if you're not having that, having multiple partners, it just create a very negative picture. I mean, it's like you're casting your net into the deep and hoping any fish that will catch or it will be the right one. I mean, I've always believed in being intentional about everything you do. If you feel that Peter is the one, be intentional. That is why shooting shot will not be a difficult thing because you're intentional. If you get to a talking stage and the stage is clear that I want to get this off the ground, and this is what I want to achieve out of it. Be intentional and focus on that. The problem is that you speak to a lot of people, you focus your energy on a lot of people, and none of those things will work out. Rather take your energy, focus it in one place, or where you've decided, this is the place for me. Yes, no one has any obligation to any other person, but if you start focusing your energy, you start to yield more fruits if you start doing that. I think for me, the talking stage is very important because that's where you get to know the person. So it is very important that you focus on it and get to zoom in and really understand the person that you're actually engaging with, so that you can then get more. Because if there's a lot of turtles and bedwells and everyone, you tend to, scatter your focus and not able to give even the correct person a chance to be able to, maybe this thing was going to work. The problem is that you were just too busy with a lot of things. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I think you've answered that very well. I see a lot of people raise their hands. Let me just get the few last people who haven't spoken. We have a full house now. I guess load shedding has disappeared, or it's not a factor anymore for most of us. Spiwe, I know you haven't spoken so far. You've heard the question about talking to multiple people. Now, as a woman, what is your take on the aspect? If someone told you, I'm talking to more than one person, I'm not just talking to you alone. What is your interpretation of that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just driving. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're
hi,
okay.
everybody. Okay, thank you. So, for me, I for one personally, I'm against it. To Lungster's point, like you said, you took the words out of my mind when you responded, even about rejection. To say that we missed the cause because now our minds are too scattered. A divided mind stands for nothing, but a focused mind stands for something. So if you have focus on somebody, you will give your utmost, and the fulfillment about that is that because you've given them your all, you've given it everything that you had. At the end of the day, should it not work, you know that I gave it my all. There are no regrets. There is nothing. But if you're going to split your attention, you would be like, oh, maybe I should have, or maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have given more attention. But how could you? Because your mind and your time is split amongst other people, So you're not only taking away from the person, but you're also taking away from yourself. That's one. And then number two is that should it work, now you find that this person doesn't have all the qualities that you might want. Nobody's perfect, And now because Lady X has given you an experience which Lady C, which you are so fully interested in, but doesn't have one quality that Lady X has, now you find yourself in a predicament. Even if you want to focus now, you can't, because you've tasted something that is outside of Lady C, that Lady X has, So you always stand a chance of getting tempted, of cheating, or finding yourself in an entanglement should we get there. So it's such things which we overlook, or we take for granted, and unfortunately life is based on principles. If you think that you are doing this because we are Jola, you're not committed, unfortunately you are setting a trend, you're setting principles for yourself. Now when you get into a state where you want to commit, habits don't die easily. You've created habits and you've worked values or principles that now will hinder you from the ideal picture that you now want to build. And you might need to self-correct by undoing certain habits, and you find that it's too late because the other person might now want to propel, but you now need to take steps back and to fix yourself. So to my point that it's very detrimental. As much as it's fun because you think that you've got your feet in 2 sides or 3 sides, but in the long run, it doesn't work for you and the next person, because at the end of the day, you might think that it's working for you, but in all honesty, it's really not, so that's my stance. And then I just want to reiterate Lungster's point about fear and rejection. Like, he was so spot on. Fear is one thing that stands in the way for us in achieving the things that we want to achieve. So many people focus on the negative because fear says, what if you can't? What if you're rejected? What if I'm rejected? What if I'm not rejected? What if I succeed? Type of thing. So we need to build a mentality that conquers fear first. And I always go with this acronym. Most of you might know it. It's fake evidence appearing real. I keep reminding myself that I'm born for excellence. I'm born every good thing that is coming my way, I'm destined for it, you know. So it's a mentality kind of thing, it's a perception kind of thing. So if we can groom that even in our young people, we could have a generation that will be fearless. And fearless is, even if I'm rejected once or rejected twice, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It means that I've got another opportunity to better myself and to enhance whatever it is that I want the world to see of me or I want to bring into the world. I will end it there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Spiwe. I guess clearly most people are saying that fear is an issue that most of us have to overcome. And then I'm not sure, there seems to be a split in terms of the aspect of people seeing more than one person whilst dating. I know Prudy, I see your name is obviously Zoran on the chat here, but what is your take so far on the aspect of seeing more than one person in the aspect of dating? Should you be only focusing on one person whilst you still getting to know the person, or should be multiple in your take? Don't forget to switch on your mic.
Oh, hi. Like, I didn't get the question. Like, my network is bad this side.
Now, so it's in terms of the talking stage, as we call it. And should a person be seeing more than one person at a stage where you're still getting to know that person, people, when you're still trying to find love, as they call it?
For me, I think, yeah, why not? Because you'll never know who you'll find at the day. What if, for example, for me, okay, I don't know what to say. No, I don't know what to say, but I don't know what to say. Because now I don't mind dating maybe or seeing 3 different people at the same time, like going out. But I think it's different when you seeing someone. Like maybe you're not like sleeping with a person. Maybe you're going out, just having some drinks, getting to know one another, you know, just checking the person. Oguti, are we gonna do this? I don't see any problem there. Like I can see 5 people at the same time. Like for me, I don't mind.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I really don't.
I see that we have a lot of people raise their hands, so I guess maybe let me go through some of them. I see Mbali raised your hand. Let's start with her, then we can just go through some of the other people. Also want to move the conversation a bit further as well. So Mbali, the floor is yours.
Okay, I just want to like just make people like understand that the like rejection basically is rooted in thinking that we are worthy, and we are, but you also have to have like an understanding that you being worthy as an individual does not mean that other individuals see you as worthy. And the moment you understand that, then a lot of things will make greater sense and you will shoot your shot, you know?
And have the message go just to the TA if they want to chat with them. But if I make Kate,
Yeah, that's all. Just switch on off your mic.
Okay, so yeah, and that's why we well, most of us are just into like this whole thing of rejection. We know that we're worthy, but we always have to have like an understanding that as much as we are worthy, not everyone sees you as that. And I think right now when we have like these different opinions on whether some people don't mind these talking stages being like 5 different guys, and some people are like no always and everything. It's just like a question of monogamy, which is what Pio is talking about, principles. You know the kind of people you go for. I think we all, before we shoot our shots, we get like an evaluation of the kind of people we're dealing with. So why would you go for someone that you can see that is a crazy ass free spirit going wild, and where now you are like a monogamous person and you just want this one person to yourself? That's the thing. We go for what we don't know, and we always go for like people like going for the kind of people that they aren't themselves, and that is also a problem. So like for example, maybe for all of us are very different. So when the previous lady said that, and she does not mind going out with like 5 guys, and she goes out on 5 dates and everything, there are probably some people like, yo, damn girl, I want somebody like you. You're such a free spirit. We do our own thing until we decide that we're okay. Whereas with me, oh hell no, you're not going out with 5 girls when you're gonna be talking to me. You know, I'm different. We are like made out of, or basically cut out of different cloth, and you just have to find your tribe. And where now you are here crying about rejection, but you are being rejected by people who are not even your kind. Why are you applying for a job that you don't qualify for? You know? So if she is going, Zoran is going, and she's going out there and she's going to have her 5 dates, let her have her 5 dates. She's going to find her type who is also going on 5 dates until they find each other. And then you have people like me. Now when I speak to somebody, I cut all ties. Because I'm just like, ding, 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 ding. Already I'm thinking of the altar. I'm going to get married. I'm not even going to talk about 5 guys. I'm not even going to talk to 5 guys. I can't say it. All of them. Find your tribe. Then you won't get hurt. You are getting hurt over people who are not for you. That's the thing. So Zoran came here and said that she's going on 5 dates. You want to cry. Why are you crying? She's not for you. Go on your 5 days. She's looking for people who are also going on 5 dates. So your rejection is coming from a point of shooting your shots at people who you haven't evaluated, people who are not even your kind. So know your tribe, and preference comes with principle. So if you know your principles, you know what your preference is. Don't go for people who are not your kind and then you're going to get hurt. Why are you doing that to yourself? Go on your 5 dates and I'll go on my 1 date. And I'll find people who go on 1 date, and you will find people who go on 5 dates without even hurting each other. And that's it. That's life. I'm done.
Sure. That was a rant. I'm not gonna lie. It's personal, I guess. But let me also, because I see a lot of people have raised their hands, and I also want to move the topic a bit further, but because there's other aspects, there's the issue of Rahadi, which I think we can touch on later on. But before, obviously, we run out of time, let me also ensure at least I get all of you to speak on the topic as we go on. I know Declotro just joined us now, so let me also get him to chip in on this topic, then we can progress. Oh, he actually just left. Okay, but he'll join in as you continue. Who can I see Kambule K raised their hand, Tato raised their hand, Zizipo raised their hand, Tembi raised their hand, Uloza raised their hand. So let me start with Uloza. Start with you, and you can also progress, because I don't want to linger on the same aspect or topic.
Okay, with the talking stage, I feel like anyone can talk to anyone as long as I am not committed to you. Like, we don't share anything. If I'm not in a relationship with you, if I'm not married with you, or if we don't even have a direction with each other, then I don't see that there's a problem with like me talking with other people and whatsoever. And another thing, when we focus too much, I'm not in a relationship, let's say I'm not in a relationship with this person, we're just trying to get to know each other. And then the moment I start focusing too much on this one person and cut everyone off, I feel like that's where disappointment comes from, because that person might eventually get to their minds, nah, this is not the girl that I'm looking for. I might as well just move. Do you understand? So us as women, that's where we normally like literally get hurt. So I don't see any problem if I'm not committed to you. I don't see any problem talking to 10 different people, because I know my principle says when I'm talking to you, doesn't mean that I'm sleeping with you or I'm doing all those things. Do you understand? It's just talking. You can take me out on dates, as Michali said. I can be taken out on different dates and whatsoever, as long as we are not fucking or anything. Sorry for the bad language, but as long as we are not having sex or, but I think like talking stage can be like, I can talk to 10 people. It doesn't matter, as long as I am not committed yet. It doesn't matter whether it's a relationship or marriage. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
So at least we have diversity of thought on this aspect. Let's quickly go through everyone else. I hopefully can keep it short. Kambule K, you're obviously a guy, so what's your take on the aspect of multiple people?
Just want to understand, when you're saying talking to other people, are you talking from a sense where you're in a relationship and talking to other people, or the fact of talking to other people?
From an aspect of you want to get into a relationship.
Okay, cool. So thank you for clarification. So to be quick and short, rejection, I think rejection is okay. It happens to everyone. Shooting your shot, everyone is different. First and foremost, I am slow. and I've been in a place where the girl had to come to me and tell me, hey, dude, do you want me? Whatever the case may be, I've been there. But now, on the terms of talking, I really think we are all mature enough and old enough to know when someone is talking to someone, we know where this is going. I actually don't think there's a problem with talking to multiple people. The problem I would have is when the person who is being spoken to is not smart enough to correct the train of thought of the individual. So if I'm a guy, I'm taking out a girl out, Mina, I want you, you are just doing this because like that previous lady said, I'm doing this, I go out, cool, but you must tell me, because what's going to happen is when you decide to be like, nah, I'm done with this guy, I was just playing around, it's okay, I found my guy, that guy who took you out on a date to be like, hey, yeah, I took you out, what's happening? So when you start talking to multiple people, cool, you can do that, there's nothing wrong with it. I really feel it's a matter of clear communication. Tell me, look, bruh, we're just friends, nothing more, nothing less, and people can move on. You can't say that they don't want to go out on dates when guys talk to them, it's a problem if they start crying. No. Some people don't communicate. Some people don't even ask. I won't ask you if you what you're looking for. I won't ask you if you're looking for a serious relationship. I'm going to take you on a date because in my mind, I want you, but you have got your own plan. So that's really my view. So talking is talking. End of the day, just communicate your view and the view.
Okay, thanks, Kay. Let me have one more person on this topic because I see there's multiple hands. Tato, let me let you close off with this aspect because there's many more other aspects and topics we can talk on.
Yeah,
Tato?
Peter, it's really getting heated. I think we need a part 2 on this. You know what, Peter? The talking stage for me, I want to know you. I'm not focusing on other people. The talking stage for me, I'm talking to you. I'm getting to know who you are as a person. I focus on you and I leave other people. But then if I'm looking for a relationship. Also, guys, we must ask for what we want. We must ask for what we want. Do you want us to be fuck buddies? Do you want us to be in a relationship? From there, then our conversation is going to be different. So if you're looking for a relationship, okay, now we have to put in longevity here. Okay, the conversations that we have, they are leading towards a relationship. So now our conversations need to change. I need to get to know the type of person that you are and start having uncomfortable conversations with you so that I get to know you. And one other thing, they touched on a lot of things that just hit my spirit. Now that I'm wrapping up, I think talking about rejection, it also talks to our worth and how good are we with regards to handling the truth. There are people who cannot handle the truth and then they resort to do other things such as raping, whatever, because they do not know how to handle the truth. And if I approach someone and they reject me, it says nothing to my self-worth. I am still intact, I am still fearless, and I move on to other people. If that person does not see the value in me, then it's not my fault. And I'm still worthy of love and belonging. I want it. And I need to belong in one. So if you cannot give me that, then I move. It doesn't talk to my self-worth anyhow. I'm not lessened by what you are saying to me. And then, man, I was just noting a lot of things here. Yeah, I think I'll just end it there.
Okay, no problem. So let's move the conversation a bit further because you get past the talking stage, you get past the aspect of multiple people. Then there's this aspect of preference, and I think we should maybe touch on that a bit. People talk about what their types are, their preferences are, and it can become very difficult because some people's preferences can be seen to be to be very, very materialistic or very insensitive to other people. So I want to understand, for example, let me start with the aspect of looks. And I want to ask, it's a very, very generic question, but I think it's important to ask, how important are looks in terms of ranking for a person when it comes to dating Or, and let me start with Litlotlo. I know you haven't spoken so far. So let me give you the floor to answer that. How important are looks in your case as a guy? Litlotlo, the floor is yours. We can't hear you. Okay, let's try someone else. Prudy, I see you raised your hand, so maybe you can also speak on it. And to the brother that is fixing his technical issues. I think she's also struggling. Bethwell?
Sure, Peter. You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. I like the flow of your questions today. They flow so well. And if I know you didn't give me a chance to talk about the talking, but when you take love, rejection, and talking, all those words are verbs. And going back to dating, I will come to the question. I will try to be very brief. When we date, dating is a relationship. And it means we are in contract, me and you as my sister. Therefore, the issue of talking, I heard some of my colleagues here, they said, if there's no commitment, then I can talk to other people. And I have a very I do have a problem with that view, Peter, because it leads to a toxic relationships. And it will come back to as to what are the terms of reference. We need to have terms of reference in our relationships to understand when we are in a relationship, what are the do's and don'ts, and have an agreement as two people, because we are dating. It means we are in a romantic relationship, but we are still talking to other people. The other party can feel otherwise about that, be a man or a woman. When you see, when it comes to preferences, Peter, I know your question. It's very focused, but coming to preferences, it differs from one person to another. You understand? And many people I know, those who are religious, they don't want to admit that before my sister, I can say I truly love you. There must be something that attracted me to you. It's a fact. Like as I said, it can be the shape of your body. I like my girlfriend, she's here. She knows that I'm attracted in most cases to dark skinned ladies. Yeah, you understand. So the issue of preferences can differ from one person to another. But at this stage of my life, of the young adulthood, I think the preferences love must be the foundation of our relationship, and looking also at the sustainability, bringing a person who's not going to be a liability. You understand? We need also to look into that, but I know I don't have a specific answer, but preferences can differ from one person to another. Thanks,
Okay.
Peter.
I see you looked at your woman before you spoke about preferences, so I think it's quite clear. I'll leave it at that. TMV, you raised your hand, so I guess you can also chip in.
Well, that was a while ago, But I think when it comes to preferences, guys, let's not lie to each other. In as much as you might feel something for someone, or you might see a future with them in terms of character and whatnot, you need to be attracted to them physically. It's a thing. It's something we all need to consider. And I've seen people who literally get divorced because they realize they focused more on the spirit and the character, and they forgot that they actually need to be attracted to this person. So, in as much as we want to lie to each other and all fantasy, what, physical appearances matter. Like for myself, I know I can't be with the short guy. It's just a preference. It's a personal preference. Nothing wrong with it. There's girls who go for short guys, they're okay with it. There's men who don't like tall women. I'm a very tall girl. It's all preferences. We all choose what we want. And yeah, that's what you think.
Oh, okay. I see some feelings might be hurt, some might be touched. Preferences are a very sensitive topic. Let's try, I see some couple people raise their hands. Q, let's have you next.
Okay, that was actually a very good one, Timmy. And I totally agree with her, because preference, it really is up to the person. It's not like a generalized thing. So just to answer that on a personal note, I actually just want to answer like most of the stuff that you did ask. So on a personal note, for me, I'm bisexual, so my preferences obviously differ like all the time. But I mean, I wouldn't date a short guy, because when I am dating a guy at the time, my heels have to count in your height. I am not going to wear heels and still be looking at you at eye level. It does not make sense to me. It's not cute. It's not sexy. And then there's a difference of preference in terms of weight, which is another conscious thing that we, like, a lot of people don't talk about. And it's something that we should, because, you know, you find people who date, say, you were into this person who had a great personality, and maybe that is your main preference to date someone, but they, like, maybe they overweight or they skinny. And then you find yourself trying to force that person to become a certain weight, because now your idea of preference in someone's body weight has changed. So personally, for me, I am into skinny but not too skinny guys, but you need to be able to pick me up, because if you can't do that, then what are we doing? You're playing games. I like a very educated person. I like a person with, you know, ambition. You know, there's certain, I think there is some sort of like a general part of it at some certain extent. Like, I don't think anyone wants to date a dumb person. Sorry to put it so blunt. I don't think you want to date someone who's able to actually have a conversation with you. Communication is such a big thing. And if you date someone who can't communicate, like, what are you doing? What are you guys actually talking about? Like, for me, it's like people who date younger girls and you're 40 something years old. Like, do you understand the dynamics of like where our lives are? So that's also just a thing. I date guys who are older than me, and when I date women who are younger than me. And that's my preference, because I just feel like dating an older woman, me being my age, it just wouldn't work. Period. Our mindsets would clash hectically. So for me, when it comes to dating women, I would date someone younger, but dating a man would be someone older. And then you spoke about materializing preferences. To be honest, that also is so surrounded by society itself, on the pressure of what he bought me or what she bought me and whatever. But again, if we're being honest, financially, like, let's talk about finance. Like, financially, it's a thing, guys. We can't be now trying to date to get married with someone who's not stable. You're trying to build a home. As much as we talk about love and everything, love is beautiful, But if we're being bluntly honest, love does not put food on the table. Love does not take our kids to school. Love does not put clothes on our backs. There's little things like that. You have to go to work, you know. You love your job, but what does it give you back? Finances. And that's just how it is. And I was listening to some guy today, and he was saying, if you are as a man and you're dating someone who, or even a woman, if you have the finances or the materials to actually assist your partner, let it be the education, let it be petrol, whatever, like those things, we should stop letting society be like, oh, she's a gold digger, or he's a blesser, or whatever. Sometimes people do it out of the fact that they're actually just supporting their partners, and that's a preference that they have. But because society has made us feel like, yo, my man is spending money on me, and because he wants me to be a housewife, all of a sudden I'm a slave queen. No one knows the dynamics of people's relationship, of preferences, or what's really happening. So yes, love is a beautiful thing. Love, it happens. But at the end of the day, the truth is finances and material things are going to happen because those things actually add on to whatever you're trying to create. And again, as Temi says, like preference is very, very different. It's very broad and it changes. That's something we also need to realize. It changes with age. It changes with like how you feel or which state you are in life. It changes. One day you might want somebody who's tall, dark, and chocolate. Then you meet a light-skinned, sexy, skinny guy. It's the same thing with guys. There's guys who date thick women, and then he cheats on you with a skinny girl. Like your preferences change all the time. So I think when it comes to knowing your preference, I feel like you need to actually know yourself. It all starts with you. Your core needs to be like really focused on terms of who you are, what you want, and what you're trying to achieve in order for you to actually get your preferences like on point. And that's just my 3 cents on the conversation.
Yeah, as the topic of preferences can be very sensitive. I remember in grade 11, I was told I wasn't someone's preference, and the term I stuck in my head was Zoba strong. But yeah, anyway. Clotho, let's have your part chipping in on this aspect. I don't know if your audio is working now. Can you just say something?
Yeah, my audio is working now.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you've heard the question. Just chipping.
Which question am I answering? Because there's quite a few.
The aspect of preference.
Okay. Personally, I feel like everyone has a preference, especially when it comes to looks. I think that we're gonna lie to ourselves. Like I think one of somebody said it before, and at the end of the day, it becomes a thing where you need to understand and try find yourself before you look for someone else. Because I think the one thing that was really, really constant, especially with all the topics that we had, is that communication is very, very key, even the one with the talking stages and stuff like that. If you're going to be talking to someone, like you need preference and stuff like that, but make sure that you tell the person what you want, because people love talking about saying, or yeah, communication and stuff like that. But then people do not communicate. People assume. It's this thing where couples will go into the fight, but hey man, he must know that he should. Hey, nobody knows, because we have different environments, different dynamics that teach us on how to read different situations, And coming back also to this whole preference thing, look at how most women are commenting on. First thing is height. What if you're a short nigga? Just know, and most South African men are short. It's a reality, So it becomes a thing where people need to understand that, okay, we are not all going to get tall guys. But if you want a tall guy, don't give a short guy a chance. Then 6 months later, you're like, yeah, no, man, this person is really short. Now you want to Kawalenja. Just be straight on from the onset and tell them, hey, you dude, now you want tall guys, it's your preference. But also, I don't want to go away from the topic, but it also comes back to this thing where people have double standards, because of once you say somebody is big or overweight, it's body shaming, but men get body shamed every single day. Because when you say, hey, he's too short, he's too this, I mean, he can't go to the gym. You can't gym height. You can't. there's nothing you can do to hide. You get me? It's a thing where, and I always feel like, you can't say this, but you can say this, which is wrong. But hey, man, it's people's preferences. So I'm not going to fight people's preferences, but also we need to understand that as much as you feel a way about certain things, let's respect everyone. You get me? I saw someone in the comments saying, Ish, it had my feelings. I'm a short guy. Now I'm a tall guy. Nah, I'm a tall guy. Mara. I have short friends and I see it all the time. Hey, if you tell a lady, describe your type, tall, dark, and handsome, always. Ne? And it's not a thing where you need to now change your preference in order to make everybody feel comfortable. That's the thing. I think the other thing that people need to understand about love, ne? As much as love in the movies, people will say, no, I feel like if you love someone, let them. Hey, love is selfish. Love can be really selfish in a sense where you want what you want. That's one of the reasons why at the end of the day, people don't ask you, what do you think people are comfortable with? What do you want? If you want a tall guy, if you want a handsome guy, that's what you want. That's your preference. But also, attraction plays a key role because of we give chances to people that we are physically attracted to. Because now I can't say, this person, I don't like them, but then their heart only goes a certain way. Because yes, you always have that, now personally, I always have that fight within myself to think, okay, sharp, her looks won't raise my kids. You get what I'm saying? Because there's certain things that this person needs to instill within my my offspring. But at the same time, hi man, man. I want someone who's hot because I need to be with this person for the rest of my life. You get what I'm saying? So we can't say now, Hore, if you had a chance, if your life was perfect, like as a man, you were rich, as a woman, you're rich, whatever, you look amazing. If you could pick a person, I'm telling you, nobody's gonna pick someone who's not attractive. We are attracted to attractive people, and that's life. And sometimes, honestly, it's a point where we understand, okay, sharp. Someone said it before as well. Okay, I can't play in this league. Moge Champions League. Mina, Ningena PSL, and that's fine. You get what I'm saying? Because you need to know, hey, this is me, this is not me, and that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, because I don't want to hog up all the time, because I understand that other people have opinions and they want to talk. But we need to be honest with ourselves with what we want. We need to stop beating around the bush. If you have a preference, you have a preference, communicate. And I personally feel like if I'm going to talk to anyone, I want to size them up, see you, talk to you. And also, I think Michali said it the other day. Everybody knows Michali. So she said that, guys, if now you want to talk to 5 people before, if that's, because sometimes, okay, sharp, I wanted to raise this question if I can. Let's say you have a scenario where you're talking to someone, you guys are 3 months into your talking stage. Then next week comes your perfect type. What are you going to do? It's not concrete that side. It's not concrete. It's really, really soft. So now you're going to leave your Beyonce for someone guys, come on. Because some people are saying once you start talking to someone, you need to cancel everyone. And how practical is that? Especially because I think for women it's simpler than for men. Because I don't get a lot of people asking me out. I bet women get hit on every single day. I'd like to assume, So they're going to have options. And that's one of the reasons that if you're a guy in someone's life, you need to step up your game every single day because somebody can come and swoop in. And I can't just assume now I took you on. Because I feel like that one date thing where someone said, a guy takes you out on a date or two, then the next thing he asks himself, why? Don't be entitled to anybody and hey, we are just going on the date, we're getting to know each other. And you can't look at someone and say, okay, this person is caring and this and this and this, because people can pretend 2 dates is not enough. So if tomorrow I decide that I'm going with someone else and I'm not committed to you, then it's fine. But I will end it here so that other people and fellow colleagues can also get a chance to talk. But that was my 2 cents. Thank you for the platform, and thank you guys also for your wonderful opinions. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Mobile, please, there are DMs available, but we appreciate your comments. But let's also get other people to also participate. I see there's a lot of hands that have been raised. Some of them have been up for a while. Bali, I know you've raised your hand for a while now. What do you want to say?
Oh my word! I really just love what the thought just said. Like he said everything. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. Right? I died for the longest time. I've been dying. Like really. Okay, but I just have like just a few pointers. when it comes to preference, I think when it comes to us as people, we need to understand that it's not a personal attack. People think that preference is a personal attack. It's not. It's really not. And I also want to bring to light that there's a difference between preference and body shaming. So this is body shaming. Big girls, ugh, I don't like big girls are just like all over the place. They do this and they stink and they do this and then you're gonna say like, okay, fine, I am just not into big girls because I might be like a smaller guy, or I'm not into big girls because yeah, that's just it. That's not body shaming. It's preference. We just chilled with that. And now with me, ne, I have this very weird thing that I do. I get judged a lot for it by my friends. I check star signs, guys. I check star signs like nobody's business. Like I'm an earth sign and I love water signs and I love earth signs myself because I've had experiences where like I've had really bad experiences with air signs and fire signs. So when I look at a partner, I will ask for your birthday at some point. I'm sorry, I will. It's just the weird thing that I do. You like big girls. I don't stand in your way. You can go and like your big girls. That's fine. It's very cool. Now I don't have a problem with you dating short guys, tall guys, do this, do whatever that you want to do. But just understand that at the end of the day, a preference is not a personal attack. That's one thing that you always have to keep in mind, that a preference is not a personal attack. Nakana fela Thembi, ngwana Modimo. She's out here, she's tall AF, bro. And then she can't even wear her heels. She can't, never mind even wear her slippers in your presence because homegirl is like reaching the ceiling and you like down there by her waist. No ways. Why? Why should Tembi do that for you? When she knows that there are people who can level up to her afro, the edge of her afro. Homegirl, don't do that to yourself. And she's not going to do that to herself. And she's mentioned that. So Aski Sebethuel, it's not a personal attack. And you need to understand that it's not a personal attack. I'm really not that big on height, but obviously I love heels. So you cannot also be there by my boobs, bro. Nah, nah. You cannot do that to me. No, I love high heels. Same thing. I will not tolerate like a nigga that is going to compromise my shoes. I love shoes with my entire life. And I love star signs as well. I read on astrology a lot. So just understand in life that preferences are not a personal attack. And also one last thing, and then I'm just going to be done. I think what we are not understanding is that like love can be practical, guys. We are missing the point of affection. We mixing it with love. There is affection. That's why it's very important for us to understand our love languages. So when people execute their love, they execute it in different ways. That's the beauty of love. If I come through and I am Bali and I love acts of service, and then you want me to show you love in physical touch, and this person wants love in words of affirmation, and this person wants them in receiving gifts, it is still an execution of love. So the thing of love is not just holding each other, it is practical. That is acts of service. It is still love. You don't have to say that I love you and there is practicality outside of love. Love is in itself practicality. Just understand your love languages. For example, I know that I love physical touch and I love words of affirmation. That's how I want people to love me. So when somebody comes to and then they're doing like 10 million things for me, I'm just like, no, you don't have to do so many things that I can do for myself. Just tell me you love me. Whereas somebody else does not want to hear that I love you constantly, but they want you to show them. It is in itself love. So I just want us to grow outside of the culture of thinking that practicality reigns out there, or doing something or giving somebody money runs there outside of love, because it is in itself love. Just understand your love languages. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, ne? Love language, but height. It's rough. I see a lot of people raise their hands, so let's quickly go through because obviously time is a problem. I'll answer the question at hand as we proceed, because I want to make sure at least we can wrap up as soon as we can. So let's quickly go through everyone who's raised their hand. I know Kay, Prudy's also raised their hand, and several other people. So let me just obviously get everyone, different genders, to participate. So Kay, the floor is yours, but maybe let me also add another question then. Considering all the things that have been mentioned, do you think at some point we should be encouraging people to settle? Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Peter. So in terms of preference and my time living on this earth, I'm very blessed and fortunate enough to accept my height. Reason being because I don't take things personally, how people view me, because I've got my dad's genes. I look just like my dad. So if you got a problem with me, if I got a problem with how I look, it's basically I'm rejecting my dad, which obviously my dad a lot. So I'm happy for the way I look. So cool. Another thing, in terms of preference, preference is so broad that it's your personal choice. And, you know, just like what the lady have said in terms of how I view it, I agree with that 100%. But, so I just saw a message popping down there. I'm sorry. But yes, Peter, can you repeat your question you just asked? I actually lost my train of thought.
So the question is, at some point, should we be then encouraging people? Because no one is perfect. Everyone has these criteria, preferences. Should we then be encouraging people to, at some point in their life, that you're going to have to settle?
Okay, cool. So then again, that is preference. And I do not want to encourage a person to settle, because if a lion wants to hunt in the wild, I cannot tell him, man, hunt at the zoo. They will give you food. They will give you this. It's already a choice. So I would choose to be an animal, be in the wild, and I don't settle down. I want to continue partying and go out and not. Then it's really, again, a preference of a person. Because I mean, remember, I can come to you, Peter, and say, Peter, don't date tall girls or don't get short girls and 1, 2, and 3. You take my advice, and you're not happy there. Then you're gonna come and blame me. I'll be the first person you're gonna blame. Okay, you told me this. It's really about preference. So in terms of settling down, I am the type of guy that likes settling down. I prefer to do that. And I will take opportunity game. If it doesn't, then I get it's life. So that's basically my view. I hope that answers.
Yeah. Let's go to Prudy. She hasn't spoken in a while. The floor is yours. You've obviously heard the question, so obviously with preference and so forth.
Yeah.
I'll continue. Yeah.
I wanted to say, and you will find out because most of the girls, now I want a tall guy or unama muscles and what, they get married to a short guy. I don't know why, because like sometimes I'm a preference, guys, it doesn't work. You'll find that tall guy or he's a player, and you'll find that short guy who ends at the most things. So for me, I don't mind. Even you fat, tall, skinny, what's or not, if ever you know how to do things that makes the lady go crazy, then me, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine, because every time when you talk about this topic, you'll find a lady like, now one tall guys, what's on, and you find the boyfriend is short. Or you'll find the boyfriend or their father, they are short, or you'll find they're getting married to a short guy. Like, Mr. Okay. And then when I waste a tall nigga, because when we're gonna go to my preference, guys, sonke sifuna our numbers, our Denzel, you know, but they're not there. Those people, they're here to play. Most of them, they're here to play. Abantu abaserious ilaba short. So for me, I don't mind. Like, if you are fine, me and others is sharp, then we're cool. Preference for me doesn't work. If you love me when you're short, yeah, I'm cool. I just wanted to say that good too. Why every time most of the ladies they like some things, but they get attached or they get married to another things? Why? Because now you'll find good to I want a tall guy, but it's a big boyfriend yake short.
Okay.
So if then you will get a rejection, because you are hunting for something that you don't qualify. Labanta tall, they don't like you. You are being liked by short people. So most of the time, just like you know, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's also get some of the other people who raised their hands. Tatu, I know you raised your hand. Or what you want to say?
Peter, sorry, man. Peter, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Just sorry for interrupting you, bro. The reason why I'm asking you this question, I want to ask it because it's gonna put some direction to where this is going. In terms of a relationship. Let's say you find a person that you like, they've got everything that you need, but then he is short, or he's got that physical aspect that is not there. Are you going to compromise on it? You're going to the fact that, look, person is like this, he's got everything that I need, but he's not, doesn't have specific, someone cut him out. And you're going to go date a guy who's got 50%, but is 100% of the looks. How does that work? What will the person decide to do after that? About that? Thanks.
Okay, let's have one of the ladies. Oh, Tato, go ahead then.
To answer Kambuli, you compromise, bruh. You compromise. Like, I've grown to know this truth, Jorge. You don't get everything, guys. You don't get everything that you wish for. There's just have to be that one thing that you have to work at. But to me, if it's more than 3, I am sorry. No, I'm not gonna compromise. If it's more than 3, you are short. No education. There's only so much I can take for. Choose your struggles carefully. Choose your struggles carefully before it will end in tears. It will end in tears because you went there knowing Oguti 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 about this guy Mar Aslangani. So no, it's not gonna work with me. With regards to your question, Peter, with preference, you guys, one thing that I should say now, you are helping me so much because I'm in this relationship that I've just started now. So this is just helping me. It's helped me to build up, and I think I'm gonna come out of it as a very well-informed individual. So thank you so much for the nuggets of wisdom that you are sharing here. They are helpful. They are. Preference, attraction. Cutie, man. Cutie. I like them cute. I always say this to my friends. I like cute guys, because remember, when you are busy having sex, guys, you have these expressions that you have. So I add on. There's this add on that I do. Already, if you are ugly and you're gonna be having, those kind of expressions that I'm talking about. Like they add on something there. So you are ugly, and then I've got to deal with these expressions. I know, I'm sorry, I'm gonna zone out of what we're doing. So at least, man, so I have a cutie man, So that's me. That's me. That's my preference. And also, okay, fine. Please be humble. I love people who are humble. Be humble. Let's go out. Let's go out so that I can see how you treat other people, how you talk about your family. Be spiritual. I'm a very spiritual person. So those are the type of things that I look for. And but as for other things, I am sorry. No. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tato. Let's quickly go through, because obviously time is a problem now. Let's see, who can I have next? Loza, I know you raised your hand for a while, so let's have you chip in. Oh, I want to get to the last topic because I don't want to dwell on one aspect of this conversation.
Yeah, we were talking about preference, man. I feel like everybody has this type of physicality, like physical features that we want in a guy. But for me, my preference is like securing the future, as Utata said. You must choose your struggle very careful. Like, why would I choose a person who is not even educated? What am I going to do with a person who is not, I don't mind whether short and whatsoever, but what am I going to do with a person who is not educated? Because I know in the future, yes, it's not guaranteed, but this person is going to have money or whatsoever, but I'm just securing a future. And that also encourages me not to like settle for anything. If I know you as a guy, wapanda, then that's not my problem. I'm not gonna settle for that. I'm gonna settle for a person who's like literally all right, go life and one about there's a future. And yeah, so when it comes to like preference and settling, you just have to choose your struggle very right.
Okay, that's at least a more neutral view, I guess. for what I've heard before. So hopefully there are no longer offenses taken going forward. Bethel, you've been the most, you've been reacting a lot, and I think you have a lot to say. I see you want to defend aspect of your board.
So, Peter, I don't have much to say. I deliberately wrote that because many sisters, they have problem with short guys. I'm a very short guy with a very strong personality. Emphasizing that I'm short, it will never break me down. That's who I am. And many of you here knows me for the fact, Tato Longstar, that's who I am. But it goes back to self-esteem. You understand? Other people, they have low self-esteem. If you emphasize that you're short, you're not my preference, as I said, when we spoke about the issue of preference, that it differs from one person to another. But make no mistake, me being short, it got nothing to do with my low self-esteem or whatsoever. I wrote it that deliberately, and listening to all the views, and you'll understand that we have different preferences. We are diverse and dynamic as people. But I just want to echo what Litloto said. This is my personal experience, and I know ladies will deny that. Women, they have a problem of body shaming. And Mbali, whether you say it's not a personal attack preference, but or not, but it's a matter of fact. And when guys body shame women, it becomes something very, very serious. Let me give you an example, and I will close, Peter. My personal experience, and in the workplace, one colleague of mine said, Bethwell, we pone ho sona le mokhaba jwang and mo khutshwane. Mokhaba ha o tshwane le batho ba ba khutshwane. You understand? That is a body shaming. And sorry. And my response to that, she's a very big woman, by the way. Okay, she said I'm short and I have a big belly. I don't know mkhaba ka sekgowa. I responded to her to say, have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror, how yours is bigger, it's even twice than mine, but you have audacity to say that to me? Oh, potboiling. And it broke her spirit. You understand? It broke her spirit. I even felt bad. You understand? So whether you say preference or it's not a personal attack, but to some other people, it's a personal attack, Peter. But I like the topics and the sequence of your questioning. And even myself, I'm learning here. I'm learning, and I respect all your views. It was a very informative session, and aluta continua. Peace and love be with you. Cause for life, we are taking that trophy.
Okay, Beto. Thanks, Beto. I wanna get to the last topic, but let me be modest enough to at least give the last few people who haven't spoken. I know Knox hasn't spoken and Spiwe as much on this topic. So let me have Spiwe first, and then Knox can go after. Then I want to go to the last topic. I know Q also raised a hand, but let's speak on this a bit. You'll be the last few people to close the topic, then we can go on. So Spiwe, the floor is yours, and then after that Knox, and then we can have Q start the last question.
Okay. Yeah, man, I think we can go all day when it comes to preferences. what I've just observed is that in our definition of preference, we still have a preference, you know. So in any way, if someone says you shouldn't have a long list or long lists don't work, that's a preference. You prefer not to have a list. If someone comes in and says, I prefer short guys or I prefer tall guys, that's a preference. I love what Tato said about that sometimes we come with that expectation or that list that we have. And then because you find someone who you deem as ideal, you might say, okay, because this person doesn't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, which actually contradicts what Zoran said earlier to say that you find someone, Uti, they prefer dark, tall, and skinny, but then when they get married, it's light skinned, whatsoever, and other contradicting or contrasting features. It's because someone has found that person and has come to a point whereby to say, okay, I know I said I like tall, dark, and handsome, but now I'm married to light skinned, whatever. It's because you've come to that compromising ground, one. And two, it's sometimes that we are so influenced by society. We are influenced by social media. We are influenced by couple goals. We are influenced by so many factors that actually it's not true what we say about ourselves. And there was somebody earlier who touched on a very important point to say it's important for you to know yourself first, know what you want. And some people are scared to spend time with themselves, you know, and hence then we allow social media and other people to crowd our judgment, to crowd our preference, you know. So it's very important that you firstly know yourself, be true to yourself. And then when you do take that list to say, okay, I before, because I'm this kind of a person, I think the person who's going to be suitable for me needs to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 features. That's when you choose your battles. And then when you find this person, then now you're gonna say, oh, okay, I think this could work, or no, this won't work. It's because you're coming from a point whereby you understand yourself. The danger that we find ourselves in heartbreaking and being rejected and stuff like that is that picking off the struggle. But in the picking of the struggles, because you haven't spent time with yourself. So I'm just a custodian of understanding yourself, know yourself, and when you get to other people, you can offer yourself, because sometimes we hide ourselves as ladies, more especially, to say that I want to appear perfect for Banbani because I think in type yake so. But you are hurting yourself, because in the long run, they're going to discover who you really are. And then, true colors, you know, and is it fair? Because now, yeah, you gave up lies, you gave a picture of what you deemed as what society deemed for you to be, one, and two, what you thought that person likes. That means now you have compromised yourself for the next person, and then you find that so janjani at the end of the day. So just for me, it's just be honest to yourself. We all have preferences. Whether you don't have a preference, that is a preference, not having a preference. So that's me.
Thanks, Piwe. Knox, I know you haven't spoken so far, so let me give you the floor.
Hi guys. So can I just quickly double check the question, please, Peter? I was a little bit distracted on my side.
No, that's good. So we're speaking about preferences, which I think we've exhausted a bit. But let me, the last part which you spoke about was maybe a lot of people have kind of jumped it, but also touched it on a bit, is the aspect of settling. We speak about preferences, and the question is then, should people then at some point in their life have to be willing to settle if they can't meet all their preferences?
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying. So just what I would like to add to the topic is that, so basically how I feel is,
we can't hear you.
A lot of people were highlighting physical features of people: short, tall, dark, light-skinned, beautiful, not beautiful. And then it kind of sort of went in a direction where it was, you know, touching more sort of emotional aspects. I think, you know, probably having gone through a couple relationships and, you know, obviously growing from a young age to the age that I'm at now, I realized that it starts off with someone initially wanting the physical, from a person. So we all, first and foremost, are physically attracted to someone before we get to know them. So yes, how tall they are sometimes matters. Are they cute? Are they dark? All of that matters initially. But I think really for me, the idea is to move one's thinking away from kind of sort of when you're choosing a partner, yes, initially you might have seen him and he might have been tall and he might have been cute, but you need to move your focus away from that and start to think about the deeper things in a person. Like, for example, their personality. Okay, sorry guys, I'm really being distracted. Okay, sorry about that. So basically I think the focus should go more from the physical to the emotional. I mean, some of the girls actually mentioned it, I mean, if I'm going to be thinking about my future partner and somebody that I potentially want to settle down with, it definitely has to be someone that I feel secure with, and not just emotional and physical security, but also financially. Are we going to be able to build a life together? Is this someone that I respect? Do they respect me in return? And things like, for example, listening to each other. How do we communicate with each other? Can I just finish?
Okay, Knox, I think we
Okay,
can
guys,
come back.
I'm sorry.
We can come
Okay,
back to
guys,
you.
yeah, I'm sorry I'm distracted. It's fine. You can move on, Peter. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Knox. I think we've exercised the aspect of preference, and I have a lot of questions, but your time is flying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least try to get everyone to chip in individually on different questions so that we don't have repetition of the same points. Now, I had someone ask me a question whilst we're discussing, and this has to be one person to answer this, and then we just keep on moving. And that's the question around, the person then asked, how important is sex? Well, how can I put this? The person is basically asking, before you settle down with someone, how important is it? I don't like the way he phrased it, test drives. I don't like that term, but how important is sex in terms of determining whether you are suitable for someone? I don't know if I can just randomly pick people, but I see Lungile raised his hand, so I will by default have to ask you.
But there was a question for you from Mobile that you've not answered, but it's fine. We're still waiting for that answer. We are not going to let go of you that easy.
Yes, can we please have the answer, Peter? Stop being weird.
Now, I said I'll answer it before we end, don't worry.
I know it's fine. We have enough data. For you, we have enough data. Okay, Peter, my hand was on preference, but it's fine. I will speak about the other aspect. The nice part that I've observed is Ngobile. Ngobile, she's from what she said, she's bisexual. She said that she prefers younger ladies, and if she's dating women.
Excuse me. I just finished this because it's in my thought. I'm not. It's.
Youngster, go ahead. I think.
Yeah, for me, it just shows you that it's subjective. It changes from time to time. It depends on where you are in your space and time as a person. And so for me, it's a moving target. It's something that you cannot achieve. If you stay with someone like me, I've been married for 5 years, things that used to matter at that where before you even got married do not matter anymore, because some of these things, they fade. Beauty does fade at some point, colleagues. We need to know, your beautiful face will sometimes, come down because of gravity, and things that used to be pointing up will start pointing down. And we cannot base our decision on things that fade. And those are things that if you make a lifetime commitment or a lifetime decisions, or you want to settle, for instance, those are things that you need to look beyond, because at some point, those things will not be where they used to be. And that's when you find people going for younger girls, because they entered this because they wanted these things which fade. I mean, for the fact that, you don't look the same as you looked when you were in primary school. Some of us were cute. I don't know what happened as we grow old, but when I was in primary, I think I was a hunk. I so believe. But as you grow old, things start to happen. Evolution and global warming happens on you, and things start to change. So do not base your decisions on things that fades. Do not base your decisions on things that can change. And it depends on where you are in life. When I was in primary school, I just wanted the most coolest kid in class. When you go to varsity, you want that girl with the nice, when you go to, it depends on where you are in life, and preference should change as you grow. And when you want to settle, because there's a aspect that you touch on, would you advise someone to settle? I would advise someone to settle if they are ready, if Bonnet have made a decision. If you come to me and say, I want to settle, I'll say settle. But if you come to me and say, I'm not sure if I want to settle, I'll say don't settle. It's also a subjective thing, and it also goes to what you want to do with the settlement. For me, sex is a very sacred thing. Sex is a very deep thing that, for me, and it's subjective again. If you do it, I feel that you are violating all the zones, that up to a personal where you go intimate, where you become part of me. So be careful of who you do it with. You don't want to put, unko rubbish into you or next to you or with you. So for me, it's an issue of, before we get to that space, I need to know that there's something, tangible that we are getting into, unless you're doing it for fun, because some people do it for fun. So, and also it's very important that you understand why we do what we do. So for me, the test driving part is, by the way, I've test driven a car which I know that I cannot even afford. I've went to BMW while I was not even earning the same amount of, when your pay is not even the installment of the car. I went to BMW wearing nice, and I called them. I drove the i8.
Is this an example, or is this
it's a reality. I've done it. But I knew I could not afford it, but I don't even have friends or family that drive that car. So I called BMW. You must try it, guys. It's very beautiful. Call them, they will send you all the details. You test drive it. I knew that I can afford it. Now, if you're going to allow people to test drive you, even those who cannot afford you will start taking chance. Make sure that you screen everyone that is going to test drive that car. Make sure that it's real people. Look, I was a fluke, and that I wasted that poor guy's time because he continued sending me emails and say, when am I making an offer? I was like, soon. Knowing that I can't even if you take my whole salary, I will not even make half of that car in a monthly installment. So all I'm saying is that be careful of what you attract in your life, and especially the people that you're going to allow to enter into the most sacred zone of your life. Because you can find chances like me, who went to BMW, drove an i8 that worth 2.2 million, that I do not even, even if I can ask all my friends together, will not even afford that installment. And be careful of those people, and because those are time wasters, those are people that are going to create, because remember how the mind works. The mind works with recognition. If you do something, if I say, what is this? You say, this is a cell phone. Why? You've not checking that because your mind recognizes as a cell phone. So if you start attracting things, your mind will, it's a real thing, you will start saying it's not a real thing, and you lose that important person because of you attracted because of you thought you're the cool or the it person. So for me, Peter, be careful of what you attract. Do not allow a person like me to test drive you while they know that they cannot afford it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lungile. I was a bit worried as when you're speaking about the BMW, were you speaking hypothetically or were you using that in reference to a woman? But I understand you fully. I see Q has raised a hand. Please take the floor.
You can move on to the next question and I'll start from there.
Okay, cool. So the next question was then, because I want to speak about marriage a bit, then we can just wrap up. So the next question was in terms of getting into a relationship. At some point in your life, I mean, all of us have traumas, things that we've dealt with, whether it's mental health, abuse, stress, whatever it's called, financial issues. And the question is then, at the stage you are in your life right now, would you be open and willing to help someone deal with previous damage from a previous relationship or experience? Or is that something as a person you just have to leave because it's not your burden to deal with? So if you enter into a relationship and you see someone as historic trauma or things they've been through, as a partner or someone who's invested in someone, is it your responsibility to help them, or is it like, nah, that's your baby? The floor is yours.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, first let me start by saying on my personal level is those who have joined me in the conversation before. So I have a mental disorder. So I suffer from anxiety and depression and mild bipolar. So for me, that's obviously my issues, right? That's my situations that I have to deal with. So when you now ask me if would I be able to get into a relationship with someone who has certain burdens and things like that, on a personal level, I can't, because my mental health won't allow me to deal with someone's stress or whatever, right? And the same way I wouldn't want someone to come into a relationship and deal with my mental disorder. So until I am perfectly fine in terms of that situation, then I can simply then allow I can then start dating. But outside of just my personal situations, honestly, again, this is also a personal thing. Like for me at my age, Joe, like if your burdens are like and you are sitting at home playing PlayStation and you're not trying to get a job and like you're starting this new career which is not ever happening and like I can't, like I am 30 years old and what are we doing? Like, and why am I still trying to? No, man. I feel like as women, we genuinely, and I say women because like I feel like women, we genuinely like, no, umuntu wami is gonna get there. He's going to make it. He's going to do this, and we support 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 and we support. And where is it? Where is it? I will give you a great. I dated someone who was like, yeah, I'm starting this new event. Wada wada wada. I'm earning my money. I'm out here helping this person. And no, it's no acrimony nonsense, Tato. It's just the truth. I didn't expect anything from him. I did help him and whatever. But the sad thing is that nothing changed. It was like, you know, I'm carrying this burden of your finances, and it's just not happening. So for me, it's like, no, at the end of the day, if we both have issues, let's talk about it from the beginning of time. Let it be something we both say, okay, me as Q, I suffer from this. I'm going through my struggles and whatever. You come in and tell me, okay, this is then we both know how to approach the situation when things get rough, because those things only become very vivid and very in your face when arguments start happening. But when things are happy, you don't necessarily see the person's faults or burdens or whatever. So once you actually understand that person, I think then you kind of, when that starts happening, you start dealing with the actual issues and not with the actual person. So, and I feel like that's something as people we don't do. We always attack the person and not attack the issue. If the burden or the issue in the relationship is that you're jobless or whatever, let's deal with that. Like, let's sit together and find you a job. Let's do something about your shit type of thing. Like, I can't. I'm sorry. Like, it goes back to the fact that I've dated broke and I'm never gonna date broke again. I can't do it. I've been there. It's okay, honey. Like, I have been that girl who has been, I've been a Popeye for, I'm okay being Popeye for people. I'm not doing that. Then I just wanted to ask a question. I might not be able to, like, whatever. So Peter, obviously you owe us my answer, which was what's your preference? And I would like to ask someone, I'm just gonna kind of jack your podcast. What do people think about open relationships? That's the second question that I actually wanted to ask everyone. And yeah, actually, that's just two questions. Peter, what's your preference and what do people think about open relationships? But for me to date someone who has burdens and stuff, honestly, if you know that you're a person who doesn't have issues and you trust yourself and everything, unlike me, who I do trust myself, but I don't trust my anxiety or my depression, that shit just creeps up on you like a bad rash. So if you don't know your core person, you won't be able to deal with the next person's burden or problems or whatever. Instead, you're just going to continuously build up on that by making them feel shit about whatever they're going through. As long as you're having that conversation beforehand, then you guys are good to go. If you're not going to be having that conversation, y'all are gonna struggle, y'all are gonna fight. You're gonna keep reminding him, last week petrol. Like, let's not do that. Let's end up becoming that kind of, So have that conversation prior. So that's my view about dating someone with burdens and yeah.
Okay, no, thanks. I will answer the question. Don't worry about that. You obviously heard the question about open relationships, but I see people already commenting on at the topic of open relationships. I want to move because time is obviously way past our assumed closing time, but let's quickly go through some of the other questions. There was another question in regards to, as we've spoken about, taking someone with burdens. And maybe let me ask Prudy this question. What is your take on the whole thing about potential? So if someone has potential, is that worth pursuing, or is like, no, final package or nothing? Just unmute yourself. I'm assuming you may be having technical issues, I guess. Bali, let me rather hand that to you then. What's your take on potential?
Can I just first add on to what Nobile said? I really I feel her on such a personal level, and I feel like I need to let it out. Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. On the topic of mental health, honey, if there is something that I have struggled with when it comes to relationships, is like an understanding of mental health from partners. Like, it is hell. So like her, I personally wouldn't date someone who is like me, because I have, like, it's my depression is crazy. Like, I find myself going through the most. I don't even know why, but yeah, we know this. And I also have anxiety disorder, So it's like, me, I cannot be with me, because I know how I'm like when I'm going through my highs and I'm going through my lows, and the periods that I can't even, like, I don't even understand them myself. So I cannot not understand myself and be with somebody who also feels that way. But also at the same time, I have been with guys who were so sane, right? But it had gotten to a point where I was like, it was too much. It's like that thing of, okay, it's 5 o'clock, dog. Anxiety pills, come on, you have to drink them now. I know this. Calm down. I know that I have to take my meds. I know how to calm myself down. You met me when I was anxious only after 2 years of my diagnosis. So I've gotten to that point where I can actually just control myself. So when now you come into my life and you act like I'm inadequate, you act like I don't know what I'm doing, you act like I'm about to die or something like that. Don't do that, So sometimes I sit with when it comes to topics of marriage, I get really confused. Do I really want somebody who's got my mental conditions, or do I not want somebody with my mental conditions? And that's also part of our mental vibes. You really don't know what you want sometimes, but you kind of do know at the same time. So I really do get confused sometimes, because I've been with guys who were sane and they did not do much for me. But also, I'm not willing to get into a vibe with somebody who is, I wouldn't call myself insane, but for the lack of a better word, insane like myself. So I really do get confused about that. Peter, what was your question again?
It was about potential, but just quickly speak on it if you want.
I love potentials. I personally love potentials. I am an eternal potential. I feel like people are eternal potentials. Darn! I love molding, I love changing, and I believe that people can be so much better than what they initially are. However, I'm not Bob the Builder. Understand that there's potential and then there's Bob the Builder. I'm not going to build you. Understand that? And easy. Been fixing people my whole life, guys. You're Chtz, I can build it. Yo, I'm tired. I am so over it. Please stop hyping me. I've been making me worse. Anyways, but there's a difference between potential and people who want to be started from the bottom. Dog, if you're going to be Drake all the way. Drake does not have a partner, be Drake. If I started from the bottom, when you want, go there and do your own damn thing and get your stuff together. But I personally will not do it. Don't bring me a vision without execution. At least if you're busy executing, then I'll be like, oh, damn, he is doing something. There is potential, and that is potential. Potential is execution. So the potential more like a sound loud, how it's a next the sound on the one. Please don't do that to me. I will support you, but only if if you've made room to be supported. And women are always expected to do like, and I'm not going to do that. Potential means that you come through here with ability, with capability, and with intent. Come with intent. Vision, you haven't done anything. You've drawn it on the wall and you haven't done anything. Come and show me that, okay, fine, Bali, here's my vision. And here is my 2 cents. And I have started from this point and I will assist you. I amplify what's in place. And that's what women do. We amplify what's in place. We don't build. Harry Bob the builder. The builder is you, the man. Bob the builder. No, we amplify what's in place. And don't make that mistake. Don't play like a submission. But I'm done here. Potentials, I love them. But potentials, what I love most about potentials versus Baba Say Kalokhange is the fact that potentials actually execute.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw some people protesting when you said you find those potentials, but to each his own. Hey, Bob the Buddhas are getting no love today. So let's move to the last topic regarding marriage. And maybe I can start this. I know Prudy Ozolan, as you see the name there. She had audio issues. I don't know if she's fine now, but the question now in terms of marriage, and I want to start off because I have a few questions and then we can wrap up because I don't want to take your whole day. In terms of marriage, marriage has obviously changed in how we view marriage, and also hope the guys can also participate as well. Marriage is obviously seemed to be important from an African point of view, from religious point of view, also from a societal point of view. People believe that if you want to have kids, then you have to get married. Although Westernization has also kind of brought in a new dynamic of open relationships, even though I think they were there before in Africa. But then the question is then, especially now with the discussions around patriarchy, changes in the way we view gender roles, what is our take on, is traditional marriage still applicable in today's society? And Prudy, maybe let me start with you, because I know you raised your hand and you're not able to speak. So I hope your mic is working now. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Just try switch on your mic. Okay, let's try as we go, then we'll get back to you. Lungster, maybe I can have you later on because maybe you have more to dwell on this topic as someone who's married. But let me have Zizipo chip in on this topic. What is your take on traditional marriage in today's society? Is it still applicable or not?
Peter, when you say traditional marriage, you mean like the whole monogamous woman submitting and those traditional gender roles? Do you mean that?
So the traditional gender roles, a man is a provider, a woman is going to submit in whatever way that's defined in your point of view. What is your take on that? A woman must be the child bearer and the one who's going to be raising the kid, whilst the man is the man chasing the bills and provider, quote unquote.
Mandla, we've evolved. Like I feel like society is just so like it's evolving so much that especially when it comes to using the like gender roles and stuff like that, I don't see myself as not see, but I wouldn't want to be that wife that's having a man that just can't do jack, that can't do anything, that can't cook, that can't I can't. I believe that cooking or all these things are a basic life skill. It's not a gender role. So you can take care of a baby as much as I can. You are more capable of that. Then we could just only take bits and pieces maybe from traditions like our grandparents, but we also have to remember that and both men and women are working and find themselves in those corporate spaces. Sorry, I'm reading the comments, but it's ever changing, and we just have to adjust to these changes. And I take bits from the past from our grandparents, but also adjust to these new changes.
Okay. Thanks, Zizipo. Spiwe, you haven't spoken much. I want to give you the floor now. You've heard the question. I want to maybe also add the aspect of we live in a very traditional and religious society. So obviously the world is changing. The views of what a woman is obviously changing as well. What a man is changing. So do you still think that we should still hold on to these traditions that we still have in terms of relationships and marriage? Spiwe, what do you have to say?
Yo, guys, first, ndicela ukhomenta kwezi comment apha. You guys are live. Ngoba imbali and Tato, wow. There's fire out here. Based on your question, yo, guys, I feel like information is life. Information is important. Education is important. Religion and culture stems from how things used to be, and those on their own merits are also evolving. As people evolve, culture evolves, tradition evolves. So that's why there are different generational groups and gaps and stuff like that. So where my point is, the more informed we are than our parents were, the more we are enlightened. And because of that enlightenment, things are shaped differently. I'm raised Christian, I'm Christian by choice. But however, there are certain Christian norms that I do not agree with because of the information that I now have. Previously, I used to take everything that my parents taught me, my grandparents instilled in me. But as I grew up, I got to see that, oh, okay, no, I don't have to stick with this, and I don't have to stick with that. And because people are different, we raise from different backgrounds, values, and principles. When I meet my partner, we are forming a new thing, and because of the differences that they have and the differences that I also possess, that on its own makes my relationship unique from my parents' relationship, because I'm not marrying my dad. They are not marrying their mother. That on its own, it's having its own merits. So if I also decide based on information and based on my research and study of certain things, I then say, you know what, I want to have kids, I don't want to get married, I want to stay with my partner, but I don't want to stay under the legalities of being married. Because of the information and the insights that I have, I have made a choice based on that. So back then and now it is totally different, and because of the access of information, the landscape is different. And also, men used to go out and to scout for work, women used to stay at home, and they used to cook, watch over the kids. But now we are found in boardrooms, we are found in the C-suite, we are found in corporates, and some of us are found also in mining. That is a total different landscape on its own, and because of that difference and variance, we are now shaping a different kind of woman, not the one who's raised to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, raising kid, but we're raising someone who's going to have corporate decisions, who's going to make strategic decisions, who's going to actually make things or make things change in the longer run. So because of all these societal and economic factors that are constituting to our daily lives and changing our lives drastically, the repercussions or the ripple effects will be that even how we are at home as husbands and wife, it's going to be different. So yeah, that's basically it for me. It's up to you whether you still want to continue with the norms of your parents and stuff, but some of us, we are woke. Hello. Yes, and because of that, yes, we changing the ball game. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, at least there's difference of views, and at least maybe the world is changing. I don't know, maybe there's a point where we have to incorporate both. Bethwell, as one of the few guys left, or as a guy, obviously there's a practice that we still maintain today, and that's called lobola, or bridal price, as some people call it. So Bethwell, as one of the guys that are left, what is your view on the practice of lobola, and in sense of as your role as a man? What is your understanding and your view on the idea of being a provider, as some people traditionally will call you? Bethwell?
Sure, Peter. Please, I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
So,
if you can
so,
repeat.
so I can probably ask, because obviously the issue regarding lobola, we spoke about traditional practices that are still applicable today, and also some religious practices. So as a man, a lot of things are identified with manhood, especially when it comes to marriage. And lobola is typically seen as something that contributes to that. What is your take on the aspect of lobola, considering the modern society we live in, and your role as a man, considering the term man being a provider? What is your view on that?
Yeah, on the issue of lobola, Peter, it's part of our African way of doing things. I don't have any problem with lobola, and I subscribe myself to that, and I've already subscribed myself to that. But you see, some of these things, they are being exploited by our families. If you can remember last time when I spoke about the checklist, to say when we go to the negotiations of lobola, many emphases are made, and are made directly spotted to men, of which it's very wrong. Hence, I came, many sisters, perhaps just to give them background who were not part of the discussions, to say, when we discuss some of the things of lobola, my family will write a letter to your family planning the date of arrangement about lobola. And in most cases, they will ask you as a sister to say, who's Betuel Mukwena? Yeah, he's from, what kind of a family is coming from? He's working. A sister will answer those questions, and that will be a form of a checklist. Is he educated? Yes or no? He has a car? Yes or no? That is my problem, of which this sister she's not working, she's uneducated, she does not have a job, you understand. And I think we need to deal with it from that angle, you understand. You demand hundreds of thousands from this guy, poor guy, Betwell. But your child, she's not working. She's not working. So that is my problem. But I subscribe myself to the notion of lobola. I don't have any problem with it. But we must remember, our parents must remember, even us, because we'll be parents for the next generations to come. We need to be open-minded and remember that these two people are about to start their own families. You understand? If they start their own family, already they are in debt. It's a matter of fact, sisters here, that I go take a loan so that I can pay lobola. The next thing, you don't want to be with someone who's broke, forgetting that I'm broke because I wanted us to form this union of love. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with lobola, Peter. And there must be, you see, this double standards must come to an end. Must come to an end. If we say, okay, lobola, I see Tato say ladies also must pay lobola. And always men cannot provide in certain instances. Those are some of the things we need to be open-minded and talk about, because in nowadays, women are working and they're doing very well, more than us, they earn more than us. And how does it make us feel as men if we are saying we have to provide? Because in some instances, we can't provide. So we need to move away. Culture and religions, they change, this system, they change now and then. So we must change with them. That is my take, Peter.
Thanks, Beto. Prudy, or Zolan, as you call, let's try one more time.
Okay, let me, I don't, guys, okay, sharp. I would just want to comment fast on this thing. I think lobola is not because we are equal, now we go to work or what. I think that's why on the bright side, they pay lobola because maybe I'm getting married, to Nkosi family. Now I'm gonna change my surname to that Nkosi family. This means I'm managing myself from my home to another home. That's why maybe they exchange the man or they pay lobola. We cannot pay lobola because you cannot. First of all, and if ever I get kids, abantwana babizwa ngesibongo sakho. Kushuthi me, I'm extending. Thank you. I'm extending your family. I'm growing your family surname, that not mine. So if ever you know how to pay kids, then I can also pay lobola, because I think that's why they pay lobola. Now I'm going to go there to Nkosi family to grow your surname to be big. Yeah, well, I think maybe that's why they pay lobola. It's not because we're going to work together and what's or not. There's some guys, I'm so frustrated now because this phone and what's going on right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, I think because that's why we pay lobola, because your family is getting more, my family is getting less. And another thing, other people, they normally say, and I thought maybe she will work for us. And now you married my daughter. Now say doctor. And then abazukulu, they are Nkosi family, not by Mkonazi family, you understand? So now they lose a daughter from Mukwena to Nkosi. They gain Kankosi. I think that's why they pay lobola.
Thank you very much, Prudy. I really appreciate it. I know you had technical issues with your phone. But I think let's go to the last part. I want everyone to chip in on this because we've run out of time and I don't want to take the rest of your day. So now we've spoken about marriage, we spoke about dating and all those other different things. And maybe I can just, I'll twist the question as I ask different people. But then the question is then, is there still any point to still get married in this particular current environment? We have things like cohabitating, that's currently a new thing, open relationships, entanglements. So is there any need to get married? And let me start with one of the other ladies. Let's see. Loza, maybe you can chip in on this, because I also don't want to dwell too much on this topic.
I also I don't want to dwell too much on this, but I don't think it's necessary to, like consider like getting married in anything, because we do like almost everything that people like in marriages are doing without having the ring. I don't know if you guys understand me. Like whatever that is done literally now in marriages, we are also doing it in our entanglements, in our relationships, so I don't think it is necessary.
Okay, thank you for that. Mbali, what is your take on this as a parting words? Do you think marriage is still necessary? And furthermore, is love hopeless at this point in our modern society?
I mean, you know what, Peter, like depending on our beliefs, right? And Tato did say that for him it is a breaking point. If our spiritual basis is not the same, then we can't do that. So for us who still have, I wouldn't say that, okay, rather, okay, that spiritual ground, we know what it means for us. We don't function the same way as human beings, but we have to function in a way that is very respectful of what we stand for. From a point of view of a traditional woman and a woman who really believes so much in her spiritual stance, marriage for me is a necessity because I understand the institution of marriage. If I were to break down the institution of marriage, I'd take another hour. So I choose not to do that. But from my personal perspective, yes, because I have a great understanding of what a life of a bachelorette does for me. This is not the life that I want to conduct forever. This is not the life that God has intended for me. So whenever we think of purpose, we always think of how God has put in place our career goals and what we're going to do for the world. But we never think that God has put in place a purpose in us for us to also exist in our homes. How are we going to conduct that if we also don't have an understanding of barriers, or rather like boundaries, or what we stand for, or even the institution of marriage is for, quite frankly, a lot of us as believers. I think it's that, because some people get married, but then they don't have a script on how marriage is about, on what marriage is about. But us as believers, from a personal perspective, I will conduct myself within the marriage and find a way to make it work within the marriage, because it also balances what I stand for, which goes back to what we discussed earlier, which is preference. Some people who want to cohabit, great stuff. You can go and do that. You can go and live your best life cohabiting. Personally, no ways, because I like structure, and I also expand structure within the perspective of society. This whole thing of people going all around and not knowing where they stand is really problematic on a greater scale, meaning on a scale of society. People don't know their mothers, they don't know their fathers, they don't know where they're going, they don't know their values, they don't know what they stand by. And if you don't know, or rather you don't have a backbone, how do you expect to conduct yourself in society? It does not make sense, because as a child, I cannot tell a child Nelson Mandela but not give the child Nelson Mandela qualities. It does not make sense. And I always say that the reason I qualify as a radical feminist is because I always draw back to the basics. People are always like running around on the top. Just do the basics. Stand at home, go back at home, check your kids. It doesn't even have to be from a marriage point of view, but for me, it has to be, because that's what I stand for and that's what God stands for. That's who I am. I'm not speaking for everyone. I have tried this whole life of cohabiting and doing what it did not work for me. It does not work for me. I stand on a spiritual stance and I stand on that and I will forever stand on that. And just really just go back to the basics, man. But love is not hopeless at all. Love is not hopeless at all. And I was listening to a song by, I think it's Gregory Park. It says, if love is overrated, then call me naive. It's fine. It's fine. I will still believe in it. It's fine. Our kids deserve better. Our kids deserve values that are not shaken by society, because that's my fear of not having a spiritual stance. Not having a spiritual stance means you will not have a backbone. I'm sorry if it hurts some, but it is what it is, guys. I'm
Okay.
done.
Thanks, buddy. I think for the sake of time, I'm not going to have everyone answer the same question. So I have two people who've just asked because they're obviously watching on a live stream. So one of the questions that was asked was, what is the take on someone, let's say you are, because now this relates more to dating, because I don't want everyone to kind of answer the same question. The person has asked, what is our take on dating someone and then finding out their best friend is of the opposite gender, or in Tato's case, the same gender, but attracted to the same sexuality? Does that affect the dynamics where someone is, for example, in a case whereby you start dating someone or you start liking someone and the best friend is, let's say in my case is a guy, or in a lady's case is a girl, or in Tato's case is another guy? What is our take on that? That's the question at hand. I don't know who wants to answer that. Does anyone want to volunteer? Or Tato, the floor is yours.
Peter, can you please repeat that question again?
So if, let's say, you want to date someone, or you're in the position where you start a relationship and then you find out this person's best friend, there's an attraction there based off their sexuality or what they prefer. So let's say, I'll use an example of, let's say that person was an ex and now they're best friends. Is that it's more like a red flag, or is it not?
Oh, it's not. For me, it's not. For me, it really is. It's not. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here with my phone. What? Can you hear me, Peter?
Yes, we can.
Peter, like it's not a problem. I've got a lot of exes that I still talk to. However, I have created boundaries on what it is that we should. Here's the thing. I mean, realize that we shared something, all right? And then whatever it is that we had, it ended. Okay, cool. But then I still care about you. However, there are certain things or certain conversations that we cannot talk about, but I will still keep you around, you know? So with me, I really don't mind, as long as there are boundaries between you and that person on how far you can go with regards to conversations. What is it that you're talking about? And then now let's put in this thing of going out. Now the outings, no. You can't talk to your ex over the phone and everything. Can it end there? So that I really don't see it as a problem. I don't see it as a problem. It also goes with trust. With trust. How trusting are you? Do you really believe what your current boyfriend or girlfriend is telling you about their ex and how they are communicating? But then if you're a person who is not well secured enough, insecurities, then it's going to be a problem for you. But I don't have a problem if a person comes to me and tells me that they're still in contact with their ex. Okay. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, Tata. I'm not gonna lie myself, I'll probably have an issue with it, but to each his own. But yeah, I think for the sake of time, I'm gonna ask the last question. This was one of the questions that was asked. And the question is, how much pressure do you put on yourself to get married? And that was the last question. And maybe just have two people answer that. Any person can volunteer. How much pressure, whether it's deliberate or indeliberate, you put just pressure on yourself to get married? I see Zizi, Paul, and Spiwe have raised their hands. So maybe it's in relation to that question. Please feel free to go ahead.
Hey, Peter. So me, honestly, I like when I think of marriage, I'm thinking I am in South Africa and marriage is in Russia. Like that is how much I do not put pressure on myself, because I am acknowledging that that institution is, yay, it's something so like it's very serious. That's why I don't put pressure on myself at all. I am enjoying being in my selfish 20s and finding myself so much and learning everything, like so many new things about myself every year. And no pressure whatsoever, because like I am acknowledging that this institution is, it's not child's play. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I come from like, my parents are divorced also. So I really I just, those dynamics, Zako, and I never pressure myself, because I don't want to find myself in a situation like 5-10 years from now. I've met so many people, just my interactions with abantu, especially old women, like eteksini, and they always just tell me like, oh my gosh, wait, you know what I mean, wait, or find yourself and all that stuff. I'm on that path. Like there is no pressure. Like grab every opportunity that comes your way. If they say your job wants you to go to Cape Town, go. Don't think of I have a husband at home. All those things. That is why, like, there's no pressure for me.
Okay, thanks, Zizipo. And then Spiwe, I know you raised your hand as well, so please feel free to step in.
I fully agree with Zizi. Like, guys, like adulting taught me things. Adulting came with flames and heats and sparks and all of those things. So just learning from all of that. And I loved her closing remarks about when life opens up doors for you to go overseas and to just be yourself and stuff like that. When you are family bound and kids bound and stuff like that, you have so much restrictions. But when you are on your own by yourself, you don't owe anyone any explanation. You go anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. And I think one of the notions that I went by is that I've lived for such a long time respecting my parents and fulfilling their dreams. And them and I had a pact to say that I'm going to give you everything that you want, to a point of having a degree. Immediately after that, my life is my own, my decisions are my own, and that is exactly that. And because I've lived like almost like how many years, 21 years for my parents, it's only now that I'm starting to live for myself. Nahana now bringing somebody while I'm still enjoying myself and my time and stuff like that. It is too much pressure. So I'm discovering myself, I'm discovering my mind, I'm discovering my personal strengths and all of those things. So it's a journey that is fulfilling. And one of the things that my friends thought whilst growing up, because of the kind of personality that I have, they thought I was going to marry fast. I was going to be the first one to get married. I told them, guys, I'm easy. I've seen homes wrecked. I have seen my close immediate people. It's very painful, whereby each time you want to do something, you need to consult. Each time now you want to do something, there's so many compromises and stuff like that. And lastly is that my friends married very young. Yes, there are those who are very successful and they're having a beautiful relationship and all of those things. And then there are those who are like, what did I get myself into? So weighing all the pros and cons and my aspirations as a Spiwe, as a young girl, what did I want to achieve? What did I want to attain? And all of those are my key drivers. So I was like, marriage far from me. So there is no pressure whatsoever when it comes to getting married. And lastly, closing for me, marriage, as Zize say, is that institution needs to be respected. And how we've degraded it these days is really appalling. Maybe that's why I'm saying that I think where I'm at right now, I would be fine with living with someone who is like him and I are like, Mukai, we're doing this, right? We're staying together, other than institutionally legalizing and claiming ourselves. And I know to the Christian fraternity, this might be a shock to say, how can you be Christian and, think like that, it's because I've seen things. And lastly, actually, this is one thing I want to pose maybe to everybody who's Christian, is to say that who said that there's a method of getting married from a biblical context? Was there ever a priest? Was there ever a white wedding? Was there ever a traditional wedding? How were people married in the biblical terms, you know? And who said that by doing that you guys now married is something that we deemed ourselves here on earth? But hey, topic for another day. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Spiwe. I think that's a good way to at least close the topic and the discussion today. Personally, I've always viewed marriage as something that's very important in a degree of the idea of what we call family, and whatever that means to whichever person. I think it's always been the idea of not getting married for the sake of the individual, but the idea of a family. But how you go about that, I think it's up to the person. Whether you, even in this thing of open relationships, I may not understand some of these aspects, but to each his own. And I always say, let people not have this stringent way of living life. As you can see, I've always viewed, when I look at whether my own parents or family members, that one thing may work for one couple, but it doesn't work for another couple. Especially when we always admire the old generation. But in my view, a lot of the older people, especially old men, a lot of them are depressed, and some of the women are also depressed. They think to themselves and like, what have I done? Or I've settled, or I've done things what people told me how to do it. But that's not what you wanted, but you just did it because society put that pressure on you, whether you're a woman or a man, to fulfill certain roles. But yeah, that's my take on the aspect of marriage. But yeah, I think we've covered a lot today. There was a question about my preference. I don't think it's worthwhile to still engage in that. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has any closing remarks, but I think we can close on this particular topic. I know I've taken most of your time. We're hoping to close by 12:30, but unfortunately, due to the topic, I had almost like 18 other questions that were asked to discuss, but we're not going to take the whole day to discuss certain topics. But thank you guys for joining the discussion. Some people had to leave because load shedding started at 12 for them, so please excuse them. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will send you the link to the podcast once I've done the editing and everything else. But thank you guys for everything, and hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers.